Hello, hello. Right, I know it's been a bit of time since I put up one of my videos, but unfortunately, with it being December, the time of year, the weather's been a bit, well, terrible. Coming up to Christmas, had a lot of things to do. Plus, I've been on call with work. But believe it or not, today I'm actually hoping to make a start on the electrical system. My plan is go get some 15mm ply so I can start prefabricating the backboard for all my electronics. Go down to where I'm storing the furniture and take some measurements so I know what I'm doing, and just take it from there. To be honest, the weather today is a bit better than I was expecting, so I might actually, if I get a chance, go out and do something on the van this weekend. But we will see. Watch the space. Of course, first priority of the day is coffee. Always coffee. Gorgeous. One of the dilemmas I've got is the electric board. I've measured the door, so I would decide to fit the board after I've constructed it, and this is in the van. I know how big it can be, but it doesn't seem all that big. It's like 47 by 43. So I'm thinking I might prefabricate the board bigger and put a couple of rails in here so I can slot it into place before I attach this to the chassis. Perhaps. So I'm taking some dimensions just so I know what I've got to play with. I could do it between the top and the bottom here. Leave a gap there for access. It'll be right on the edge, but it would be doable. I could even tilt it slightly. If I did 625, I could attach it top to bottom. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. And last but not least, it's the width of my battery door at the back. Because the problem I've got to get my battery in this area at the bottom. But of course here, I've got a wheel arch. So I'm not sure if I need to build a platform to mount the battery on, because it is a bit of a lump of a battery. It's a 280 amp hour battery. I got it because it was on sale. It was only like 30 quid more than 100 amp hour. But now obviously I've got to find somewhere to put it. I've only got like 18 centimeters. Pretty sure the battery's wider than that. Again, I may have to pre-install the battery. Carrie just gave me an idea of something I hadn't considered. I knew I'd have to build something to support the battery under there and to mount it to, put a strap on. But I wasn't keen on the idea of having to remove all the furniture, because there'll be like a gas bottle box there as well going through the floor. I wasn't keen on removing all the furniture just to get access to the battery if I ever need to replace it or take it out for whatever reason. But this door in here, I actually hadn't considered that. That gives me a solution I can work with, because it is 47 centimeters wide and depth with the hinges it's 23 centimeters, but if the board is slightly wider than that and I need to take the hinges off and have the door just sitting in there, it gives me 26.5 centimeters to work with. So yeah, see what I can come up with.
Tell you about the dog people.
here we are, Wix, helping bank holiday DIYers lose their fingers for over 30 years. Looking for some sheets of ply and also some batten. I realize I need to put some batten around the skylight to install that, the Heiko Mini, whatever it's called. So to be in line with the struts, I need about 40 mil. The more I'm walking around, the more I realize I'm going to be buying a lot of stuff. So, first things first, tube of this stuff, CT1, to stick down the trim in front of my doors. Seriously, this stuff's amazing. It could literally stick together the fabric of the space-time continuum. Amazing stuff. You know, maybe it's because Kerry's not here to rein me in. I'm starting to think some of my tools could do with replacing, like my drill bits, for example. You know, I use them in work. You know, I've had them for years. You know, they're not as sharp as I'd like them to be. So, metal bits. Yoink. Yoink. 28 mil auger bit. That could be handy. Yoink. A tenner. Be rude not to. Yoink. I'm a Makita man, which is probably a good thing. Otherwise my fingers may be a little sticky. And one of them might happen to come out with me. But, oh. I got excited for a second there, but that's pretty disappointing. I think a piece of this will be perfect. This piece looks good. Nice bit of timber, that. Doesn't have too many knots, it's nice and straight. Finally getting down to what I actually came in for. And what do we have here? Plywood. This is a good ply. The biggest gauge they have is 12 mil, but that'll still do the job nicely. Yeah, I can work with that. Well, I walked in looking to buy a single sheet of ply, and I spent 40 pence short of 100 quid. I blame Kerry. She was here, it never would have happened. But there we go. I have stuff. Tools! So here we are. I'm on my way home. Something did occur to me. When you're doing a project like this, I just took the wrong road. You know, I went out with just the intention of buying a sheet of ply, and obviously I got a little bit carried away, which again, I hold Kerry fully and completely responsible, because she was not there to rein me in like a naughty toddler. But anyway, that being said, it occurs to me that although I've been keeping track of everything I buy for the van major, like every component, some of the more expensive tool items, stuff like that, you know, little shops like that, I haven't really been keeping track of. So in the end, I was planning on doing like a budget video showing how much the conversion cost me and basically going through everything I've bought and highlighting like costs I hadn't considered, among other things. And yeah, I suppose when I look at this one, I should calculate it in probably one of the better known ways of calculating inflation, and that's by counting it in Freddos. So basically, what I just spent on random bits and bobs is about 2 Freddos short of 100 notes. So yeah, I think come the end, when I do a budgeting video, I'm going to do my best to estimate all the little bits and bobs that I've bought and to subtract the ones that I bought thinking it might be a good idea and then didn't actually use. But I think ultimately I'm just going to have to work out a rough price for, call it sundries, for stuff I've bought and used, because a lot of them will be used for other things. I mean, I'm a very hands-on guy when it comes to DIY. You know, I still have all my fingers, so I'm relatively good at it. But yeah, a lot to think out when I'm doing the financial calculations. I think when I do add up the final price for this build, I think I'm going to be as surprised by the outcome as you are. Alright, so basically, I've got a piece of 12mm ply. I'm going to cut it here and use a guide because I need to get this cut perfect. This will go between the bottom and the top of the upper shelf in the cupboard, and that'll mount all my electrics on it. My beautiful assistant is going to hold that end so it doesn't fall, and this should be a perfect cut.
Kind of.
There we go.
It kind of fell, but didn't fall.
I'll go over that with a sander. Just put it up there for now. Alright, I just need to take an edge off now. Make it about 50mm wide. Ow.
Yep, that was a stupid idea.
That was silly. I've now got a finger full of wood splinters. Alright, so the width has got to be about 50. And a little bit I've left over I can use to make the backing plate for our external power socket. So let's swap this one over so I don't impale myself with it when I'm cutting.
Whatever. Squeezing the right bit.
Yes.
I'm squeezing that little handle for some reason. I swear my brain's gone too rally lately.
Shall not light hit the table. There we go. Done. This is going to be our backing plate for our electrics. The next thing I'm doing in prepping the woodwork ready for the installation of the electrics is getting my backplate ready for my PowerPoint. This will be my external hookup. It does have some screw holes going through it, so you can screw it to the surface of the van, as well as a foam backing plate, which sits up nice to the van with a bit of Sikaflex. That'll be sound. But I want something for the screws to go into. So using some of my leftover ply, I've marked out what I need. So I will drill through here, cut it out with a jigsaw, and then cut it off here last because it's easier working with a big piece of wood than this dinky little thing. Couple of holes, so I'll have somewhere to start with a jigsaw. Don't want to push too hard because I'm going to blow the back of the plywood out. Did it again. Let's tidy this edge up a bit. Job's a good one. Alright, see how this fits. It's not a bad fit, needs a little TLC. To be honest, I should have done this before. Yeah, learning point lesson for anyone here. I should have tested this before I cut it off from here. It would have been easier to do. Wasn't as bad as I thought, actually. Here we go.
Almost.
That's fine.
Was it all the way down?
Yep,
Oh.
That's it. There we go. Another bit of wood prep done. Just got the sander and tidy this up a little bit, just so I don't get splinters, because I seem to be developing a bit of a habit for that. You may call me Master Splinter. There we go.
It's a skirting board stain.
Yes. Yes, couldn't hurt to protect it. I mean, it's unlikely to get wet where it is, but, you know, rather prepare for it than not.
Yeah.
So there, back plate. So there I was, planning out the electrics, thinking it would look easy and, you know, I'd have plenty of space to work with. And bear in mind, this board is as wide as a cupboard, and I'll go from top to bottom. I put all the components on it that need to go on it. And yeah, there's not a lot of room to work with. So it might only be a 10-piece puzzle, but it's a hell of a jigsaw. So I'm not really sure what to do, because I was planning to put holes in it to put the wire through and run the wire behind the board. But I really don't have room for that. Okay. After a fair amount of soul searching, crying in a corner in a fetal position, and running up and down the stairs to look at my computer to look for inspiration, I think I finally have a working plan. Wow, your thumb looked massive then. Okay, so this board will be in a back cupboard, top to bottom. Left a bit of space at the top and the bottom for attaching it to battens. The 240 volt coming from the external hookup, which will be this, will come in through the back. All the 240 is going to be behind the board, so it'll come in through the back into the consumer unit. The 6 amp will feed this plug to power the battery charger. I can run that cable underneath. The 10 amp will go to our sockets in the van. I'm not using the pass-through in the inverter. It's quite a lengthy explanation for that. I will explain that in another video. But I have a little slot cut here, one here, a hole there, and a slot here. I'm going to run the cabling behind the board. So basically the power comes in here, comes to the isolator, then comes to the distribution box. This distribution box will then feed the battery to battery charger. It'll connect to the solar, it'll connect to the DC to DC charger. It will also feed the positive terminal, coming through this hole, feeding the positive terminal in this distribution box, and you'll have the negative coming in this side. I do have a switch panel, which will take some of the load. That will have its own supply. But yeah, basically what I'm going to do with the inverter is, I just don't have room in this board for it. Honestly, I don't know how people fit these complex systems in a van our size without actually having a garage area. It's just difficult. I think I'm starting to see now why the labour on a van conversion is so many thousands and thousands of pounds, because it is quite involved. But basically, I'll have the inverter on the side of the cabinet, because that only needs 2 wires, the positive and negative, and obviously the plug. So that's my plan. I think I'm going to cut this video here. There's a lot more prep involved than I had imagined, so it will probably be in 2 parts. Until next time.